Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Needle Mouse. Hello, hello. How are you? It's me. Look at that. I'm actually somewhat on time. It's a new era. Mostly because I'm feeling productive today for whatever reason. Which is exactly why I am not going to be productive at all. Anyways, let's get started on this thing. Boom. Look at that. Godot. Not doing dual screens today because I have something that's not super related up on my other monitor. Let me see. Boom, boom. All right, now, okay. I've closed all the manga tabs. There's nothing weird there. Actually, the music that's playing is totally, no. Yeah, no. Music playing is totally wrong. Hopefully I don't get content ID matched. There we go. I was accidentally playing the music I usually fall asleep to. I am an old man and take naps during the day. For whatever reason. Alright. So... one thing I know for sure is I need to get rid of... I've recently transitioned this repository over to out of my own personal profile. So I need to change this eventually. We'll get around to it. Take the GIF out because the GIF is really heavy for whatever reason. Like it's 50 megs. I didn't realize that. I'll just keep it open like that for now. Let me see. This should be changed to... let's call it Puppeteer. I actually looked around and there's no other project out there called Puppeteer, which is a bit weird. Like, it's a puppeteering program. I'm probably just gonna be calling it, like, Vpupper. Vpupper. It's a great name, in my opinion. Big fan. See, boot splash, all of these are fine. Yeah, okay. And there you have it. That's pretty much it. No, it's not it. There's a lot more to do. So, no, I don't have this open yet. This is going to break because this doesn't exist. So open me up. Open CPHG. D is no longer the correct thing. So unpin from quick access. We'll have to go over to Puppeteer. Enable all of the usual stuff. So Godot tools. Enable guts. Let me see. Better Tommel? Do I need anything else? I think that's probably fine. I don't remember. I also have all these other like garbage Python stuff because there's so many Python things that you need to have. Why do I have a WGSL, Zig, no, shell check, maybe. I guess we'll enable a shell check because I do have a few shell scripts. Okay, cool. So this VS Code thing should still be valid. All right, well, let's get started. Even though I've been talking for a while. So, here, bum bum bum. Why do I have these all preloaded? That's the question. Oh, actually, these are buttons. Okay. So these are buttons, which means that I can take all of these. These will be the built-in things. So I've been puzzling this out in my head over the weekend. This just feels really slow. Why does this feel so slow? Oh, geez. Did something happen? Is something eating up all my process stuff? What is it? Puppeteer. That's about as expected. Oh, it's anti-malware service executable. Thanks, Windows. You're great. I love you. Keep doing your thing. Otherwise, it's not so bad. OpenCFace GD. What is this? This is Puppet. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Potato Stream. This is my stream. Really, actually. Stream Stuff Runner is very, very lightweight, huh? Look at that. Yeah, I was thinking about this. And so for something like this stuff, so you can move this stuff around, look how cool that is. I think I might use this same pattern in the future. I'm a big fan of it. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee. Alright, the streamer is going away. Why do I even watch streamers anymore? I should just watch YouTube videos on repeat. Like an absolute psychopath. Alright, run me. Okay, but anyways, what I was thinking was, for these things, because this is the default GUI, because a lot of people probably won't be providing their own GUI, right? They'll probably just be wanting to use whatever the default is and then maybe add their own stuff into it. So what I was thinking was, for the GUI stuff here, it's kind of bothering me that I can see I have a wide view here. I'm not used to it. It's a bit too long. And also, by the way, I forgot, I need to do this. So logs, add color, add keyword color. So keyword. So this needs to be color red. So I'll take this out. Logs, add keyword color. Let's do this really quick. I like doing this. It makes me feel productive even though I know I shouldn't. So what keyword color should this be? Probably like a, I don't know, aquamarine, beige, bisque, coral. Coral's a bit red. That's probably not what you want. What's green? What kind of greens do we have here? I don't really know what these look like without actually going into the editor. So let's move over to here. So screens, GUI, pop-ups. So these are all the built-ins. I don't feel weird about just leaving them here like this. Color. Okay, so now, okay, aquamarine. How hard was that? All right, what do you got? So if we go to logs, oh, look at that. It's kind of dark though, isn't it? So go to logs. God, this is so slow. What the heck? There's like a palpable sense of like this is slow. Font color read only. Give me like a pure white. Yeah, there we go. Very readable now. And then these should also probably go over here. Wrap. Where's word wrap? Wrap enabled. Okay. Final one. This should just go straight to. Should just go straight to whatever GUI is currently available, but we'll fix that later. That looks pretty good, I think. That looks pretty good. Not so bad. Yeah. Look at that. Cool. Then here we have one thing closed. Let me see. So these are, we'll just do all of these like a built-ins. So built-in menus, we'll call it. So built-in menus is equal to model bones tracking. My typing is very poor today, mostly because my fingertips kind of hurt. And scroll container. Why are these all scroll or inside of an HBox container? Did I do something weird? God, it's so slow. HBox container. That's not an HBox container, it's a VBox container, you dummy. List. Oh, this is like menu list. Alright. So then, for this stuff, we'll just have onReady var menu list. This as HBox container. Look at that. All right, so here's the idea, is that we will, instead of manually hooking up every single button, we'll instead loop through every single built-in menu that we have. Yeah. And then just generate buttons based off that. And then afterwards, then we can then loop through the extension manager, look for everything that has a, or look for extensions that match a thing. So query extensions for type, probably some sort of GUI. I'm not sure why I'm not sure why I'm not making these constants, but that's something that I'll have to think about later. Decided to force myself to program, decided to do this little animation project. Nice. Nice. That's always a good plan. That's not always a good plan, but it's usually a good plan. Let me rephrase. Force yourself to program something. Release something that you do yourself. Always pretty good. Let's see. For menu in built-in menus, we'll do button new, connect, pressed, so sidebar buttons. What am I doing? Because I don't want to pass along the package, but I could. Or no, can't I do? So if I have this is a pack scene, right? This is a pack scene, so then I can get the, not the toString, but I can get the, not pack. There's something here that I can do, right? So Godot docs. Give me the docs. Pack scene. Isn't there? This is a resource? Yeah, so this is a resource, and then I can look for a resource name. Maybe a game. I want to learn C. After I try to get better at C, I'm going to try a language like Rust. Why not try like an easy language first? Instead, I'm curious. Because I don't know C. I would not say that I'm very good at C. So why would you torture yourself like that? Resource name. What is resource name? Like, I feel like any language that has pointers, or does C have pointers? Yeah, C has pointers. It doesn't. C does not have references. Yeah. Like, pointers are kind of hard to wrap your head around, I suppose. They're not really that complicated, right? Like a pointer, if you map it back to like real life, right? A pointer is just an address. So like a pointer to your house would be like your house's address. Then the value at the address would be your house. Right? But I think manipulating pointers can get very confusing. Rust is also very difficult as well. Like even seasoned programmers have trouble writing like real applications with it. Follow the saying of learn C, learn others faster, even though no one has ever said that before. Well, I mean, C is a good base. It is a good base. It's generally easier to learn. Well, it's easier to learn other languages once you learn C. If only because, or if C is one of the harder ones and everything else is just, you know, easier C. But I think you're doing yourself a huge disservice by learning C. That's basically it. Like, unless you're willing to put in like the huge amount of work you would need to put in, I don't think it's worth it. It might actually be detrimental to you because you'll pick up bad habits. Right? There's a saying that practice makes perfect, but only there's practice makes perfect as long as the practice is good. As long as it's good practice. If it's bad practice, you're not going to get any better. In fact, it'll just get worse. You talk about Python? It's really any language, really, right? Python's not bad. It's just slow. And it's really like if your Python program is longer than 100 lines, not 100 lines, 1,000 lines, I think you should probably write it in another language. Name of the resource. Built-in resource path. In the case it has its own file, it's tied to the scene. So this might not have a resource name? Resource path as string. So this is file, get file, get base name. Get base name. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. Ooh. A bit of C this week because I have finals. Yeah, I mean, go for it, right? You know what you like. You know what you like. But, you know, talking as a programmer, I've been working professionally for, I think, 5 years. I've never needed to touch any C. So take from that what you will. And I'd say I'm pretty competent. You know, I started with Python as well. Started with Python with the best of them. Then learned Java. And then Now I feel pretty good moving on to any language as long as it doesn't really involve pointers, which most languages do not require you to manage pointers. Okay, so this one. Built-in menus. Enum, sidebar, buttons. What's a good way of doing this? I'm thinking about it. Give me one sec. Built-in menus, and then there's like a menu name. Or what we can do... Actually, no, you can't do this, right? Like, can you do this? I don't know. Just give me this really quick. So whatever. Can I do model? Resource path. Get file. Get base name. Are you allowed to do that? No, you're not allowed to do that. Okay. That's what I thought. But we can do something similar. So instead of doing this as an array, we can kind of do it somewhat scuffed. No, you can't do it somewhat scuffed. You have to do it like this. Here, what we can do is... I'm thinking about it. How would you know... I would like to generate a mapping between this and this. So the actual pack scene that's returned, and then the name of the pack scene, because then I need to hook up the... match. Or do I even need to do that? You know what? I don't need to do that at all. What am I doing? Yeah, okay. I'm overthinking this. Yeah, just pass in this. It's amazing. Wow. What a great solution. Way simpler. Way simpler. Yeah, because you don't need to match against the button ID as long as you just pass in the pack scene. Yeah. I love compiling ASC sprite for the 1,000th time. Yeah, it's pretty good. Compiling is the easy part most of the time, once you know what all the build systems are. And realize how most people just use CMake or make. If you use anything else, then, you know, too big brain for me. Alright, so this is no longer correct. But this will actually be a pack scene. So this will be scene, some sort of pack scene. And then we'll just do add child, create pop-up. So scene, resource path, get file, get base name. Yeah. And then just pass in the scene like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's easy. He's beginning to believe. Switching to so many distros, I keep going back to Endeavor OS. I don't know why I just don't use VirtualBox. I'm just brain dead. That's possible. It gives you a lot more experience with setting up distros, though, I suppose. Menu, list, add child, button. I think that's it. I think that's it. So this should still work. If this works properly, there should be no change whatsoever. What is so slow? Anti-malware service executable. Please, release my computer. I don't need you to scan. I know how to compile Arch. I'm not doing Gentoo. Do you know how to compile Arch? You know how to compile Arch? Are you sure? You mean you know how to install Arch? Non-existent function add child and base nil. Is that nil? Really? So this is on ready var. What do you mean? This should still exist. Or did I accidentally change a name somewhere? No, that's correct. What is your problem? Menu list, add child. Hey, run runner, add child. Oh, it's only on ready. But it's not. I mean, that is technically valid. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. I mean, install. Use Arch install without Arch install. Did you have to look at a guide? Asking the real questions here. Panel container. Menu list. So yeah, so the menu list does exist. Menu list, add child button. Non-existent function, add child in base nil. Hey. So this fired before this fired. How does that make sense? Ooh. What? All right. Give me this. I don't think I even need to cache this, I think I can just hold on to it like this. So we can kind of force it. So far. Good question. Nice. Hbox container. Comment this out. What is your problem? Okay, an extra $sign, a classic. All right, so that should be okay. I'm pretty slow today, I don't know why. Really? Really? Oh, it's because this is actually a VBox container. I'm mad. It was an invalid cast and then it just did a thing, I guess. Strange. Alright, so button dot text menu dot, please, what was it called? Get file, this thing. Menu, get file. Oh, okay, resource path, sorry. Resource path. Man, why do I feel so slow today? It's like my brain doesn't work. Or it works even less optimally than it usually does. the old hamsters slowing down. It's on vacation. Or it's on holiday, as they may say in other parts of the world. All right, that looks pretty good. And then these all load in as expected. Phenomenal. Wow. Okay, cool. So that feels even better. And then what we can do is look for various extensions. So if I go to here, we can go to super cleanup. Need to look at utils. No, it's not utils. It's under model, extensions, and then extension GD, probably. Resources, resource name. Don't extensions. Extension resource can have, okay, so they can have an other field. Precompiled Skia doesn't work on Arch, and you gotta compile them yourselves to compile ASC Sprite. What's Skia? Skia, Linux. What the heck is Skia? Oh, it's some sort of graphics library. Oh, look at that. It's a Google thing. Well, that's not so hard. Probably. Developers, tooling. All you gotta do is just read the documentation. Yeah, can't be that hard. How to build Skia. Look at that. Yeah, but that's the fun part about Linux stuff, right? Is that you compile Or you can do a lot of things yourself. I suppose that's also the bad thing about Linux, is that you have to do a bunch of things yourself, but you know, it makes me feel like I have more control, personally. Yeah, I forgot I'm on Linux. Yeah. I have the best of both worlds. I don't even use I don't even use Windows subsystem for Linux. I just use Git Bash for Windows, my favorite program ever. Okay, so here what we'll do is I should probably just keep this up. So default GUI extension manager. That's probably kind of what we want. You know what? I think I have in one of my extensions that I preloaded. So extension manager is just called EM because I'm apparently a psycho. Extension name, context, resources, tracker. Doesn't one of these have like an other key value pair? All right, hold on, we can find it. What did I call it? So extensions. Was it VRM that has an other? Okay, so selectable GUI. Yeah, okay, so selectable GUI is true. Okay. So I'll just need to document this, he says as he proceeds to not document anything. Extensions. So Markdown all-in-one is currently installed, so that should be fine. Extension resource struct style class that holds information from a section in the config ini file. Okay. Let me see. Alex here is finding out they're using Linux every day. Yeah. If you use the internet at all, you are inadvertently using Linux. Or you're at least interacting with a Linux server. Extension resource. So I guess we'll have like other keys. So this should be selectable GUI. This should be whether or not to show this as a selectable thingamajig. Split editor. How do I preview to side? And then I can preview to bottom, right? Yeah, look at that. Whether or not to show this, whether or not to show the GUI selector when launching the... All right, hold on. Gotta think about this. If the resource is a runner, determines whether or not to allow the GUI to be selectable when starting. Something like that. And then, let me see. Is like a general GUI? I'm trying to think like what kind of syntax would you want? Because GUI is already a valid extension type. All resources are pre-sorted based off their type, and then you can, yeah. It's all unhappy ending with a company open sources their software? Not really. Not always. Right, like Elasticsearch is open source. But then what you have then is, you know, big companies like Amazon taking it and then just, you know, not open sourcing their changes. Or like pretty much any Chinese company, right, with Android. So they'll take Android and then any changes they make to it, they're supposed to open source it. But well, they're supposed to open source it as in like source is available upon request, but they don't even do that. So It's not always a happy ending, huh? Or add to default, add as default. If the resource is a GUI, determines if the resource should be displayed the default GUI. Yeah, something like that. That's not too bad. So add as default. So here what we'll do is var GUI resources is am what was it called? Query extensions for a type. And then are these actually just strings? Don't I have, well, for an animation software being open source and an industry standard? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Maybe these should actually be here. Like, cause there's already a config thing here. Whatever. Extension types GUI. So this is probably an array. Yeah, it's an array. Or actually, we could just do this, right? For E in, for extension in this thing. If X other has and then we'll have various keys, extension other keys, I guess. Yeah, extension other keys. So then you'll have what were they called? Oh no. Extensions. Yes, selectable GUI, just so I know what they're called. I also write open source software. I work for a company that specializes in open source software. So I suppose that's a happy ending. It just makes me slightly uncomfortable to call it a happy ending. But you know, it's all good. It's not weird. Global constants. Extension, other keys. Add as no, not add as default. So yeah, add as default. So if not X other has global constants, extension other keys add as default, then we'll just continue. So we'll ignore it. Otherwise, we'll be able to grab the extension the extension object. So this is an extension name to an extension object. This gives you an array of extension an array of extension resources. Is it really an extension resource, or is it an extension object as a whole? I think it's an extension. Oh no, I don't remember. What does this give you? Because this says it's an extension, but this is saying that this is an extension resources. Oh no, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. This is correct, yeah. I confused myself temporarily. But also, I'm gonna refill my coffee, BRB. Hello, hello. I'm back. Another full cup of coffee. Okay. So add GUI as default. Actually, this should be called add GUI as default. What am I doing? Add GUI as default. Yes. So add GUI as default. Give that a save. This needs to be renamed. Add GUI as default. I could use VS Code's built-in find and replace, but whatever. We're already here. Here we have an extension resource from this. So extension resource. Yeah. I hate how this jumps around. I thought I changed this already. What is it called? So when you click on something, I don't want it to jump. I don't want it to jump around. I hate that. Is it then in the Explorer? So when you click on something, hold on, we can find it. We can find it. It's not search, is it? Text editor, diff editor, is it files? Enable trash. Yeah, I suppose. Hot exit. Insert final new line. Save, undo stack, workbench, no. What is it called? Startup editor. No, that's about right. What is it called? Like oh, it doesn't actually jump around. Okay, I guess I already have it disabled, but it only jumped around for that one, I guess. Don't know what's going on with that. Here we have resource name, resource type, resource entry points. Okay, so given this, I'm gonna take a look at the landing screen. So here, resource name, resource type, resource entry points. Yes, I think that's probably fine. This needs to be button connect, button pressed, GUI selection, entry point path, run runner, entry point path, use selectable GUI. Let me think. Not use selectable GUI. GUI selection pop-up. GUI selection pop-up, blah blah. Original entry point path on GUI selected. Run runner. We have the path. And then we just tried, okay, so we just do a raw load. Okay. I think that should work, yeah. Because you can just load in random garbage from wherever you want, right? Yeah. So that'll work. So var button is equal to button new. Button text is equal to extension resource name. Button connect. So on pressed. And I suppose we'll load in. Let me think. So we have the extension and we have the resource entry points. Is that fine though? That might not be totally correct. Yeah, because create pop-up requires a packed scene, but that's not always going to be the case. Yeah, okay. So I gotta think now. So this is on pressed. Scene if scene is packed scene, else scene new question mark. Or I could create, given a script, I can then pack it into a scene and then delete it. Okay. That's a bit tough. That's a bit tough. Because this relies on base pop-up to accept a thing. Scene, and then this is scene. Then base pop-up needs to handle it as well. Who wrote this? P screen. So, instance if. P screen is packed scene, else P screen new. Something like that, because we don't know what it's gonna be, which means we can go back to here. Yeah, okay. So we just pass along the scene because we don't instance it. We just kind of hold on to it. Okay. That flow makes more sense to me. Yeah, that's not so bad. So on pressed, or no, here we have all these packed scenes that we preload. That's pretty easy. We'll loop through these, create a menu option for them, and then for ext in, you know, AM, EM, query extensions for type. So we look for GUIs, we filter them by GUI. We look for everything that has add GUI as default. Wait, no, because that's a key. What am I doing? What am I doing? Brain is not working today. No, we want to check for, yeah, just gets. So if gets this thing, then we'll create the button. Or I guess it's if not gets this, and then we assume it's false. Wait. So if not true, wait. If false, so if, wait, no, not false, yes. I can't think today. What is wrong with me? So if a condition is true, then you'll go into the if statement. So not is a true. Yes, okay. So if not true, then continue. Yes, because if you have add GUI as default is true, you continue. Yeah, okay. We're thinking. We're thinking. I swear I know what I'm doing. All right, so resources, extension. Let's just have, I don't know, remote control server. Let's do something really quick. So this will be remote control GUI.gd. And then we can even move this out of the project if we want to, but not yet. Yeah. And then we'll just have this be a VBox for now. So VBox container. Don't make it default, make it structured. That's my favorite one. So here we go. Var label to, yeah, let's do label, it doesn't matter. This is really like a test anyways. So label text is equal to test label. Because I want to see if this will work. So remote control GUI. Then we'll go into extensions, remote control server, add this to our config ini. So this will be remote control. So type is equal to GUI. Entry points, remote control GUI.gd. I think you should also be able to just pass in a fully packed scene. So everything is packed into it, everything is local, so it doesn't rely on anything inside the resource directory. Yeah. So add GUI as default. Is that what it was called? Global constants. Add GUI as default. Yeah, so just hit me with a true. That's true, so true. So wait, did I finish implementing this yet? I don't remember. I did not. Menu list add child. All right, don't do this actually. Don't do it from here because this is such a pain to debug. Do it from here. Ooh, baby, probably. Runner file not found. Runner file not found? Where? Code 44. Runner file not found? Where? Why? Runner file not found. Runner traits. Try load model. Runner. Oh, okay. File not found. You know what? That's a really bad error. What this should be is so result error and then pass in the path as the description so I know exactly what the heck is happening. All right, redo me. Send me. All right, so it can't find the file. That makes sense. Oh, it's because the path is different because I'm a yet again, just a huge dummy. Okay, so default runner. I forgot I changed the file name stuff. Oh, you know what? It's because of this. I see. Oh, don't print this. Give me... Where are all my directories? Send me to my user folder, app data, roaming, Godot, app user data. I think it's just called Puppeteer. Puppeteer. Logs. That's probably fair. Actually, where is this loading from? Starting load model for... So default runner is what? Runner trait. Ooh. What? What? Hold on. That's a bit weird. So yeah, try load model, and that's yeah, that's run by the default runner. Yeah. So default runner. Default runner. Does this have? Is something in the config wrong? Why is it trying to load a model from the previous thing? That's strange. That's so strange. Default runner. So on try load model. Let me see. Default model path. Get data. Default model path. Yeah. So bring me here. Default GUI. So what is the default model path? Where is this coming from? What the heck? So OpenCFHDD entities duck texting. That's not correct. That's very wrong. So in this, it's not in model config. It's in metadata. Default model path. Where's the metadata getting loaded from? What the heck? So yeah, because this must absolutely be loaded from the metadata. So if we go to config manager, metadata.json, yeah. Oh, it's in the, oh, I see. It's because it's not storing it. It doesn't store this stuff. It doesn't store the config in the user data directory because this is a test build, so I need to delete all these. Oh yeah, I remember. here. Yeah, so just manually manipulate that. This is wrong. I'm pretty sure if I click on this, this is going to crash. I guess I can try. All right, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. All right, so remote control, look at that. There is nothing here though. So it did load in the extension properly, but it didn't display it as it should. Because I see. Add child label. So we go to default GUI, remote control, test label. All right, cool. Look at that. So you are able to load in just random garbage if you want. My favorite. Suppose I should also have other things to show, like, okay, like we want to show this on the like the add as pickable, I suppose. So config, not this one, this one. Get out of here. For this one, so add GUI as default, pickable, yes, no, or pickable, true or false. Not pickable. Add GUI as. That's not a great name. It's actually kind of a bad name. Or actually, yeah. Selectable GUI is false. Isn't that enough? No, that's not enough. Hold on. Landing screen, selectable GUI, button connect. Hey. No, this is for runners. What the heck? Man, having all these duplicate keys is pretty confusing. Or potentially duplicate keys, because if I do selectable GUI, like selectable as GUI, that's confusing. This is showcasing one of my weak points as a, a software architect. How the heck do you name things? So GUI. Show the GUI as an option when starting a runner. About starting. Should the resource be displayed on the default GUI? Okay, cool. I think that's okay. So then we can add selectable GUI is false. I guess I can reuse it, and it's not working. Because I need to go to landing page, and then when we generate the GUI selection pop-up, GUI selector, can I click on this? Oh geez, we can click on it. Then here, query extensions for type. So if not I other get global constants extensions other keys selectable GUI, just default to false. What am I doing? Continue. Yeah, it's not so bad. Yeah, okay, cool. Then this just works. It's more or less a placeholder for now, but we'll get around to it. Yeah, it's not bad though. Placeholder. Yeah. And then in theory, this should still work when I export it as well. Yeah. In theory, this should still work on export. Logs, add keyword color. So debug color. This needs to be, well, yeah, gold is not so bad. All debug logs should show up here. So app logs. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Look at that. These all work more or less. Not able to track it just yet, but we're getting around to it. Bones. Lots of log spam, I've just noticed. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's good. Has a nice gold and red color scheme as well. Key not found, key not found. Eh. Where did this come from? Key zoom model. Yeah, that's fine. I guess this is something in the bone pop-up then? So, bones. We'll just open that up. And then here, I think I should also do, so logs, add keyword color, trace. What other colors are there? So color, I guess I don't have blue yet. Or no, that's blue. Aquamarine, yeah, blue. I'm not using trace at all though. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you, Ava, Isa, for the host. Much appreciated. I need to. It's so weird how the hosts don't show up in the little stream manager thing. So it doesn't show up in chat, but it does show up as like an IRC message. So my my little stream overlay like catches it by accident. Look at that. Yeah. Let me see. Let me keep the logs open. So I think that's fine. Then we open this up and then we just run into a million errors. That's good. That's good. So in bones, which one is no model found? That's fine. Okay. No, bone not found. Aborting config mod. No. Bone not found. Where is this? Key not found in. Key not found. Yeah, these are all app manager things though. Oh, it's looking for like bone stuff. Because we're trying to set it up from here. Here. One of these. One of these is trying to set some stuff up. I forget. Let's actually show up, but you need to add a separate window for it. I don't know why they aren't showing the activity feed, but hello, hope you're doing well. I am doing all right. Let me see. Is it? Let's just do this on the fly. Can I set up a separate window from this very tiny stream layout thingy? Edits. Oh. Hosting you. Oh, okay. It's just completely separate, huh? How strange. How are you doing? How are you doing? My brain is mush for for today. More mush than usual. But what I have completed is added this, which doesn't look like anything, but this is actually supposedly hot loaded. So this is part of the extension system that I'm working on. So anything that isn't one of these 5 things, so model, bones, tracking, props, and presets, anything else will be an extension. So this is kind of blindly loaded at runtime, and then we just add a button for it. So it's just a placeholder, but seems neat, seems neat. So we generate this entire list essentially programmatically. Let me see, this stuff. None of these have values, which makes sense, I think. I remember I was trying to do a thing at some points. I was trying to refactor this because I thought this is really gross. But what was it? What was I trying to do? What was I trying to do, Tim from last Thursday? What were you thinking? What were you thinking? If I'm trying to read my own mind. I think last Thursday I was somewhat inebriated at the time. Oh no. Oh, you know what? I didn't need these. Yeah, I was thinking that since I would just generate this entire thing programmatically as well because of this init thing, and then there's no ready function, right? Yeah, I can just connect directly to these. Yeah, so there doesn't really need to be any logic at all. So still work on the dynamically generating the UI. Yeah. As always, the UI is the bane of my existence, or anything GUI related is the bane of my existence. But I think I'm getting close. I think I'm getting close. So here, I could offload this to this script, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want. Like from here, emit signal. Let me rethink about this. Maybe I don't even need to connect, or like these elements don't need to be connected at all. What they could be. So connect elements. Yeah, I can see here that I've already pre-connected these, but I don't think that's necessary. Or actually, none of these are necessary. Yeah, let's not let's not be hasty. Let's just do that. Very understandable. Yeah. I think the more pressing thing is that my brain doesn't work right now, so I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Options list. What is options list? Options list. And then where do we pull in the bone options as well? So I'm pretty sure all of these. Okay, I'm rethinking it because now that I remember how I am setting config values from the UI, right? Because I realized at some point I hated having the UI store its own states. So that's a kind of an anti-pattern. Like it's nice if UI can store state, but you should not depend on it. Why is this visible to false? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, having UI elements store their own state is an anti-pattern. Yeah. So instead, all of these should be doing stuff like AM, pub sub, emit signal, you know, the bone name, and then the emit the new value for it as well. So like something like that. Emit signal. Is bone name not stored? Okay, it's the name actually. Something like that. I mean, this will break because those things aren't actually registered like that. But let's see. I just need to figure out, where am I pulling the configuration from? Where am I pulling the configuration from? So connect element. We don't want to connect these. I'm pretty sure this won't have any error prints. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it was in the connect element call. So in the base pop-up, no, it's the base pop-up tree layout. Yeah, so base pop-up contains a base pop-up tree layout. It's a very Java style way of naming things. And then here, it tries to pull its configuration from, does it? What the heck? Set up, bone pop-up tree layout, connect element, call whatever, connect check button. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is wrong, or at least not, it's not wrong, but it's not something that we want to do for every single bone, because how these are stored in the model config is, gotta think about this. They're not stored in a uniform manner. So maybe, I need like a handler for these, right? Because not all of these map 1-to-1. So additional bones maps back to, you know, is tracking sets. Additional bones to be tracked. It's not a great name, but you know. This is not something that should even be omitted at all, because this is more of a, you know, we want to manipulate the model kind of thing. So if we go back to this, it's equivalent to me loading in some sort of VRM model, or just like the duck model. But so this one, yeah, we can wiggle it like this. It's not super, yeah, there we go. It's not super obvious, but yeah, you can wiggle it like that. So that's what should pose toggle should do. Should use custom interpolation, bones to interpolate. Yeah, bone interpolation rates. What's a good way of doing that then, huh? Interpolation rate changed is the interpolation rates. Yeah, so that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. Like, I do want to encapsulate this logic because I don't need to have this logic present here. Is tracking. Maybe this doesn't even need to be here. But actually, this is wrong anyways. Yeah, this is wrong anyways, since I should not be doing this via, I should not be accessing the configuration directly. What am I doing? What was I doing? Who wrote this? Yeah. I mean, maybe I could, and then I'll just need to emit the new states and then handle it. That'll work. Yeah, so we'll get rid of these signals. No, there's nothing to hook up here. We can copy over this logic. Like, that should be okay. Bone name is just regular name. Oh, and then we don't have access to the skeleton, I see. Okay, you know what? Let's connect it like so. Connect it like this. don't do any of these. We can connect it directly. Should pose button doesn't really need to be hooked up to the configuration stuff because there is no configuration associated with should pose. So should pose, nothing needs to be done here. That's what the to-do is. Only after posing. So this is more of like a bone page should pose button connect. I think it's toggled, yeah. Cell on should pose. And connect element requires a signal name, but there's not really a signal name that's associated with it. So maybe these, hold on. Bone display. I think that's okay. Most of these are garbage. Hooray, refactoring. These are okay. I think. Like these are 100% necessary. Options list less than necessary. So we'll move it over here. Because we don't need to maintain a reference to it. But in base pop-up tree layout for connect elements, connect element we do want to keep, but we want to override several things. So we'll override, I think it's connect check button, connect check button. So check button, what am I doing? So pretty much all of these are check buttons. Now that I have overridden it, nothing should happen when I open up bones. All right, well, you know, we just have a few errors, that's fine. So click on these. This interpolation rates is a line edit, so I also need to override that. Connect to the line edit. Run me here. I just clicked run twice. Okay, cool. So, no values here. That's understandable. And there's also a signal name associated with these. Let me think. My coffee's done. Ugh. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to return with some water. I'm back. All right. Let's see. So connect check button. Don't want any of these. We actually need to manipulate the signal name based off of a few things. Is tracking. So bone page is tracking. We can actually we can't overwrite it. Connect element is tracking. And I also don't think that you're allowed to do this in Godot either. So you're not allowed to change this signature to something else. Yeah. Now that's invalid. Void connect string default. Yeah, okay. So is tracking button. These won't have names yet either. But I can pass along a signal name. I'm thinking. There is no signal to connect to based off of this. This should actually be based off of like additional bones. So I guess that's okay, right? Maybe if I just do additional bones, that's okay. This one should be based off of, should use custom interpolation. So bones to interpolate. I kind of dislike that these are just using string values, but gotta do what you gotta do. And then bone interpolation rates. But then I don't have any information on var args, Python. So I can take off this. I can take that off. And then just leave this as like an args argument, so it's completely duck typed, so that I can pass in more args if necessary. Yeah. That just feels bad. But I think it's the only way I can pass enough information back to my callbacks. Yeah. Connect, blah, blah. With this signal and the check button. And then when we're connecting the check buttons, based off of the signal name. So if we do like a match on the signal name, right? Signal name. And we'll match against like additional bones, for example. Nope. One of these. Nope. One of these. Then what would I be doing differently? Isn't it just like the... Or maybe these don't even need to change? Maybe these don't even need to... Maybe I don't even need to override these. Maybe I just need to pass in the correct signal, and then these all change to be like... So on check button toggled. I'm confusing myself. How did I handle this from model? How did I handle this from model? I remember that one was pretty okay. I mean, besides this entire part, but... On button pressed, blah, blah. Model selected, check button toggled. Oh, and this just checks, like, the signal name. Okay. 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 And then it connects it against... These aren't individual values, though. This is just listening for a value that may or may not be emitted by any other thing, right? Because what I'm trying to solve for, is if we go into the GUI, this is easy, right? Because you only have one instance. But if you have two instances, what you would expect is that when you click on one of these, you get both of these should update at the same time, which is why I don't want to directly poke the config files. Instead, I want to do it via just broadcasting a signal. The config file catches the signal, and then each one of these elements also catches the same signal. But then how does the config file know how to handle these? It's like these specific values should be handled differently. And then also, what is the error that showed up? All right, so that didn't show up here. Error calling a method from signal toggled on is tracking toggled. Bone display. Oh, bone display. Okay, my bad. These don't exist. Yeah, okay. So, both of these and this one. Okay. Or actually, just remove the lines entirely. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. So it's like, it's like you should be registering for a specific signal here in the bone display. So you catch the callbacks potentially, and then all you care about is sending it. I don't know if what I said just makes sense, but we're going for it. So here, we'll do on bone updated, something like that. So func on bone updated. So we'll take in a bone name. I guess the signal name, and then the new value, something like that. Void return, so we don't want to do anything. And then actually this should be the bone page. Okay. So bone page, some sort of bone display, which is just a preload, but I think that should be okay. Yeah. So connect element needs to change here. What was it? Base pop-up tree layout. So on this connect element, so we can assume that this will be, we can assume it'll just be null, I guess. Something like that. I'm still not sure if this is the correct approach, but I'm gonna make it work. We'll make it work. Oh, and the reason why this is throwing an error is because it should be args. Args. And then just kind of hope it's good enough. Yeah, it's probably okay. We'll think about it. I can definitely foresee this biting me in the butt, but I should probably just document it instead, huh? Set config float amount. Where is this called from? What the heck? So model GD set config float amount. Okay. Okay. I guess that's okay. So everything here should still work, hopefully. That's the hope. Bring me back. Connect line edit. Okay, that makes sense. Because these are now args and args. And I think what you can do... Can't I give this a type now and it will still be okay? No, it doesn't. Okay. It's just some sort of variance. That's fair enough. So I can do this. That is still technically valid? Yeah. Okay. Some sort of variance, which means if we go here, just start it. Everything should still work, hopefully. Zoom model not found, but that's fine. This still works. If we go here, refresh, open this back up. I guess it didn't write. Finish saving data. Do I not save on reload? Oh, I'm not saving on quit. Okay, let's save on quit. App manager. Yeah, did I just forget to do that? Or am I in a test env? What the heck? Ooh. Ooh. What the heck? So we go into default runner, default GUI, go into here, set all of these, finish saving data. Yeah, should be fine. And then we go back to here, open this up, finish saving data. Yeah, go back to here. I turned it on, right? Yeah, okay. That was weird how it didn't work the first time, but we'll think about it. Okay. So args, let's add a note for myself, or a doc string. So this is more kind of like a multicaster almost. So a generic method for connecting types of controls. All right, params. So this is the control to be connected. Args. Duck type param. Duck type param by default is the signal name as a string. Yes. Okay. Params. To be connected, and then args is it's really just this part for my own sanity, even though I'm just repeating myself over and over again. Connects a button to the default callback. Does not listen for config updates by default. this one connects a check button to the default callback by default, where it does listen for config updates by default by subscribing to the given args parameter. Check button. Yeah. Connects the check button to the default callback, does listen, or it listens for config. Also sets its initial value by pulling the args value from the config manager. Yeah, one of these. And then I'll just copy and paste this. It's essentially the same thing. Line edits. All right, that's not so bad. Not so bad. Now this is where it gets bad, because this is going to be an array. So under check button, bring me back to bones, because I need to see what this is. Yeah, this is going to be an array, but that, well, it's going to be an array that we're using as a tuple. Not a huge fan of doing that. So match args 0. Yeah, and then this. It's so gross. But I guess bones is also kind of a special case, or because a lot of those values are procedurally generated, like they're not even pulled from the configuration, right? I mean, some of them are. Some bone configuration stuff, is hard to say, because it's based off of the model that you pass in. Alright, so args 0, and then we'll also pass in the bone name. Params, so check button. Check button to connect args. This will be an array. The args used. So at 0, it should be the. I really don't like this, but it's. I could pass a dictionary as well, I suppose, and that would be a bit more descriptive. Okay, you know what? Let's pass a dictionary. As like a kind of a pseudo struct. So name is equal to this thing, and this will be called a bone. Yeah, that makes me feel a bit better. So this is a dictionary. Or should we call this signal? Signal. Signal, the name of the signal. Bone, the name of the bone. Phenomenal. Signal. Okay. That's okay. It's kind of gross. Kind of gross. Kind of very gross, actually. Generate connect args. So since these are all the same, I guess it will just do like a, so the signal name, phone name, all right. Generate connect args. So that should be, I should not have deleted that. Bone interpolation rates. Bone interpolation rates, really? Oh, you know what? It is bone interpolation rates. Bone interpolation rates and bone name. All right, additional bones. To interpolate. Bees and then bone name. All right, cool, cool, cool. On should pose. I think that will need to be handled by you directly. Actually, how does model do it? So in model. Let's see, all model selected, no. Well, kind of, yeah. So we do need to handle this like so on should pose, whatever. Which one of these is like handling moving the model? I know it was one of these. On check button toggled. Check button toggled. Scene signals, move model, blah, blah. Okay, so we go here, scene signals. So this can be handled by like pose model, I suppose. So pose model. Do these need to be added to the initial thingamajig? I think they might. So what do you do? So default runner. Okay, so the default runner listens for these. Ah, I remember. Global constants, scene signals. Should really just loop through all of these, huh? Pose model. So for all of these, okay, so it creates the signal in the pub sub and then it registers itself appropriately. And then on config changed. Okay, apply translation. Yeah. So scene stuff. Signals, pose model. And then on should pose model. Should pose model. That's tough. Should pose model. So I guess you can pose the model and then also move around the model at the same time. That's still technically valid. Yeah. If that's bum bum bum. How can you do this? It's like I should... Model parent, zoom strength. Does zooming work? By the way. Alright, these I'll update, that's fine. These don't do anything for now, so we'll just ignore it. But, does zooming work? Okay. How does this work? How is this implemented? So zoom strength. Oh, okay. Yeah. Zoom strength is just a raw value. It doesn't take into account anything at all. Okay, cool. So I think we can do the same stuff here, roughly. Proposing the model, because right now how model posing works is it uses your X, your Y, mouse movements, and then also your scroll wheel, because you do need to be able to pose your model in 3D, but I don't have a 3D gizmo, so I just kind of, you know, we kind of cheat. So if should zoom model. But if we're wanting to put posing the model in here as well, I'll need to refactor this. You know, let's add it to do. I don't want to think about that right now. To do, refactor to reuse value, reuse logic for posing the model. Yeah, we'll get around to it eventually, one day. All right, but generate connect args. So given additional bones, and then we will also have a bone. So the signal name will map one-to-one back to the model config. All right, so connect check button, additional bones. This will be args additional bones. It's a bit scuffed, but it'll work. Or no, that's not it. Connect against signal. Yeah, oh no. Signal name. Match against the signal. So it's only additional bones and bones to interpolate. Bones to interpolate. Hit it with a pass. Otherwise, this should be an error. So logger error unhandled signal name. Okay, we'll do the same thing here as well. Although there is only just the one, right? We'll still match. So args, signal name. What was it called? Bone interpolation rates. Then we'll have the default case be logger error. Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. Now, So these are the connections we need to listen for. These things. Bone updated, probably don't need that. Maybe. On is tracking. On is tracking. Well, wait. So model config. No, app. Don't you listen for it? That's the app manager. Why did I open this up? Config manager. Yeah, okay. So here we listen for on metadata changed, but then not. We don't want to do this like that. Because these are correct somewhat. Maybe some of these should be excluded? Or it's like I need to check the type of the value beforehand before I start connecting. So data, if key is not other, create signal, key, but I think I also need to check, what do I use the data for? Data keys? Because like if you, I'm thinking. I think I can still do this if I just maintain a copy of whatever the heck is, whatever these are. So I can reuse the same data. It's just a bit more expensive, but that doesn't matter because, you know, you only set this once. Yeah, additional bones. Yeah, we can do that and then just omit this whenever we change it. I guess that's okay. I guess that's okay. Yeah. So on additional bones, this is our callback. So then check button, connect, I don't know, toggled. I think I'm thinking too hard about it. So instead of thinking at all, we'll just start writing stuff. All right, so then we have the bone name. And actually, this will go state and then bone name. So I actually have this backwards. This is also backwards. This should go state then bone name. Oh, why did I write all these backwards? And then, yeah, these are all backwards. Yeah, okay. So args, bone. Just call it bone name, just so I'm not losing my mind. Bone name. It doesn't make a huge difference. It's just that the arg is slightly different, so they need to be handled differently as well. But then how do I listen for this stuff? So this will be like data. So we don't know what it's going to be, but then I can do this. I'm struggling with envisioning how this code flows. I don't know why. I was saying earlier that I was thinking about this earlier. You know, had a brain blast. I know exactly how I want to structure this. And now that I'm actually writing it, I'm confused again. Might be worth it just to go back to the drawing board, maybe. Think about it, I suppose. We'll have to think about it. Because, like, this is still okay. So, bones to interpolate. Should use bone interpolation. On is tracking, on interpolation rate. Do the same thing, line edit, connect. There's a few things, but most of them are just like text changed, right? Text changed and then text entered. Text changed, perhaps. Hold on. Connect line edit, and then we'll have to forward everything over to on interpolation rate. What is this? Why am I doing this like that? Connect line edit. Arg's bone name. Okay, then we'll go back here. Connect line edits. Wait. Hold on. No, that's not right. Bring back to model. Model. Line edit text changed on check button toggle. Don't I? Yeah, okay. So both of these should forward their information to on interpolation rate. Yeah, okay. Or no, I just needed to implement this. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Connect line edit. Thinking. Connect line edit, and then arg's signal name, isn't it? No. All right, connect line edit. We want everything except for the final connection. And then this part as well, which is populating the initial value. I need to think about that. Or actually, no, we just need these parts because I need to forward the stuff over to the appropriate handler. Yeah, that's okay. So all of this, we'll pass along the args. It doesn't really matter. But here, we do need to line edit text changed. Line edit text changed and line edit text entered. And then I just need to pass this along here. On line edit text changed. What am I doing? Some name string, and then the line edit. Probably could have guessed that. So args, signal name. Actually, this is a private function as well. Connect line edit. Isn't this an error? Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, isn't this an error? Yeah, actually. Yeah, what am I doing? Let's do this. Yeah. Line edit, blah, blah. And then line edit text changed is here. But actually, well, no, because it needs to be this. And then we'll just forward these things back to on interpolation rates. Yeah. So if text, so if not text is valid float, then we'll do just return early, because we only ever want to handle floats for the bone stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, we don't need to use the signal name, and we actually don't even need to have the line edit either. They're just passed along just because. Here we'll do on interpolation rates. So this is text as float, text, 2 floats. And then the bone name. Okay. I don't have access to this. I can't connect these like I would usually connect these. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm brain is not working right now. This is such an easy thing to change. I just can't think of it right now. On interpolation rates. Yeah, no, I can't. I don't want to do. I don't want to use these built-ins. I want to use my own ones. Yeah. Okay. So instead, we'll do args. Bone name. Args. Bone name. On line edit text changed. Yeah. So we'll get rid of this. Func on text on interpolation rates entered. This gives me back a string, and then I'm also passing along the signal name and the bone name. Signal name, bone name. So we'll pass this along to interpolation rates. So on interpolation rates. So text. Oh, and actually, we don't even need the signal name because I know exactly what it is. All right, so this is it's just the bone name. Yeah. Change this to be a string, and then yeah, there we go. Text entered, interpolation rate changed. Okay. Text. So if not text is valid float, then we'll just continue. Don't do anything. Not continue, return. That's how you know the old brain is firing on all cylinders. Bone interpolation rates. Yeah, that matches up. This part, bar rate, some sort of float is equal to text to float. Yeah, okay. So if that is null, maybe this shouldn't be an error. I think it is an error, but we'll think about it. Yeah. Then AM pub sub emit signal bone interpolation rates, and then we'll just emit that new dictionary that we just pulled in. So then everyone who is subscribed to this which is mostly for the config manager, because config manager is subscribed to this specific key. Yeah, and then it should just try to set it, and then it tries to also save the config on a debounce rate. Okay. I think it's okay. Bones to interpolate is roughly the same thing as well. Yeah. Yeah. Signal. Bones to interpolate. Oh, hello, Bumdy. Hello, hello. How are you? Bones to interpolate. I think that's okay. I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to remember what me from last Thursday was thinking when I wrote this, because I am somewhat alarmed. I'm somewhat alarmed by some of these choices. But I think this is okay. It's not really spaghetti. It's a bit custom. It's a bit specific, but I think that's okay. Doing work I see. Yeah, I'm trying. Brain doesn't really work right now though. So when you see those alarming tips, that's a good sign. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I think something is wrong with the overall design of this though. Luckily, this is pretty self-contained to just the bone menu though. I put so many comments into my code for future me because I've gotten mad at past me too many times. Yeah, well. I think some of these are okay. Like, I think some of these comments, most of my code is more or less self-documenting, kind of. Right, connect elements for, you know, this. The idea is that, you know, we're connecting it, and then whenever we're connecting it to our pub sub, right? Because we don't want our UI elements to store state. So whenever we update data, we should be going through the pub sub, and then everything that is listening for updates for that specific piece of data will update itself appropriately. So our config manager subscribes to every single one of these keys, and then for each individual element, it will subscribe to whatever pieces of data it's trying to display, if that makes any sense. So the idea, and I suppose I should also say, I'm working on this application here. I wrote it, etc., etc. You can find it on my GitHub. There's a GitHub thing here. GitHub. Look at that. The bot lives. The container did not crash. That's one of the things I need to look into one of these days. Wait, run it. Default runner. That looks pretty good. So this works, right? Because this is very basic. I know what every one of these values should map back to, because they're simple, right? Like, this isn't even a value that should be mapped, because move model, rotate model, those aren't things stored in the config. So that's easy. I think this looks pretty good. Actually, I haven't tested this out. Does this work as well? Yeah, look at that. So this is what I was talking about, right? Like, this is one of the hard parts, is that this is valid. This is a valid use case. So you have maybe like 2 instances of the model screen open at the same time. So, but when you change a value here, it should also reflect over here, which it does. And then if we change global interpolation here, it changes over here on the right side. So that's the big idea. And I thought it was foolproof, but the problem running into here is that now I did not think about the case for this, because these aren't individual values. These are values of values. So I'm trying to figure that out now. How did you do that? It's magic. It's magic, essentially, right? But that's what I just described, right? That's what I just described. So UI elements do not store their own states. Instead, what they do Is that a singleton by two separate windows? Kind of. Not really. It uses the pub sub, right? Like I was complaining about this before at some points, where it's like, why am I sending all my values? Why am I updating all my values over pub sub instead of updating the values in the config directly? And this is why, right? So the config listens for pub sub values, and then these individual elements listen for their own values, right? So pub sub, whenever I toggle an element, it sends a message up to the pub sub saying that, say, apply translation has just been updated. The config manager receives a signal, updates it in the config, and then these elements also subscribe to that same pub sub topic. So apply translation says, oh, okay, apply translation is false. So technically this is actually set twice. It's a bit wasteful, but whatever. This one also receives a signal and says, oh, okay, apply translation is now false. So I'll set myself as well. So whenever I select something, I always select it. The current element, I think, is selected twice, but then anything else that may or may not be open will also update itself automatically. Now, I think this is one of the problems because these aren't actually, I don't remember if these are emitted over pub sub. I think they might be, it's possible. You can subscribe 2 times. Yeah, you can subscribe as many times as you want because it's not actually a real pub sub, it's just using Godot's mailbox pattern. So it's like a pseudo pub sub. You subscribe 2 times when you, yeah. So what's actually happening is we go here. Yeah, it's just all of these big connect element calls. So we'll connect to base pop-up tree, connect check button. Yeah, so we register ourselves with the pub sub. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So self is self. It's the appropriate callback. So on config updated is the callback. Args in this case is usually the signal. And then this args, that's kind of a bad name, isn't it? I guess there should be params, but whatever. What I'm wondering, your code has too many signals? I mean, there's a signal created for every single element. for every single config data thing, there is a signal. I think the only downside to this approach is that the dictionary will have, like the signal dictionary, the signal mapping will have a ton of signals in it. Maybe they can be generated. What do you mean they can be generated? What do you mean? What do you mean? They are generated. Every single signal is generated, unless you're talking about these connection things, but there's not really a great way of doing that. Yeah, are you talking about this? Or are you talking about registering with the pub sub? Because registering with the pub sub is automatic. So all the signals are generated at runtime. There's no way to do this. There's no way to do this automatically. I guess like if I were to go into here, if I were to go into this scene and then just like, I guess, add it to a group, I guess I could do it like that, but there's not really a difference. And then it just makes it more complicated for me to maintain in the future because then everything needs to have a group associated with it. Using text scene buttons. These are actually text scene buttons, by the way. But using this structure, it's important to realize that at some point it has to be hard-coded. Something has to be hard-coded. So I've decided to hard-code it here. Oh, don't do this. Yeah, I think this is as good as it's gonna get, right? Unless I were to go into every single one of these buttons, add it to a group, being like, okay, this is, you know, pub sub or whatever. But then I still need to be able to subscribe this element to I still need to be able to subscribe this specific element to this specific signal. right? So there is some point where it needs to be manual. So yeah, I hate using the I hate using these. These suck. I think if you're going to do something, I only like doing UI design via the UI. I think anything that has to do with like signal stuff, I prefer doing via code. Right. But yeah, every single signal is generated automatically. So here, we run through every single key and then add a user signal. So I think that's a good design. This one, it's not great, but I suppose I'm open to suggestions. What if you move that connect code to button GD? Yeah, I've decided not to do that. I've decided not to do that. Because there is no button GD, right? These are just random buttons. I used to have that kind of code. So that's actually how this application works, is everything self-subscribes itself. Or it's not really self-subscribes it, but it manipulates the configuration directly because every single element is just its own class. But I felt like that design was really limiting, so I decided not to do that. Yeah, I mean, I think it would help. Yeah, for sure. It would help cut down on a lot of this, you know, garbage, essentially. But I don't know. I think at that point, it's just like too many scripts, and then you had to program around too many edge cases. So instead, I've just decided, you know what? Let's just do everything at the screen level. We won't do it at the element level. Yeah, because for this application, doing everything at the element level was really tough. There's just too many edge cases to handle, so I think doing everything at the screen level instead was a better solution. Yeah, that's my argument. I'm sticking with it. So on is tracking, and then these all need to be connected back to onBone updated, I suppose. So we need to connect to AM. Yeah, okay, so we'll do like a AM pub sub register self args signal name. And then pub sub payload new, and I think I can just pass in a callback. What's in pub sub payload? I forget. 3 supported thing. So there's connect args. Okay, so I can just pass in a custom callback as well. Godot has some sort of component workflow, it would make more sense. Are you talking about like kind of a Unity style component workflow? I suppose that would work. Like a decker. Oh yeah. You know what? That was actually something I was thinking about. It's like, what if I like just wrote a thing? I was playing with that, or I was toying with that idea in my head. It's like, what if, you know? So instead of having to, you know, manually connect everything, what if we did something like this? So if you do like a hash at no space, and then just run it through like a preprocessor, and so then you would have essentially like template files and then like real files. Or it's not like real files, but maybe like a handler pattern almost. So the handler would scan every single one of your files. So it's very similar to how I wrote this application, Stream Stuff Runner. So it uses basically singleton handlers. So the singleton handler would scan every single one of your files for these things. And of course they could also pre-generate it, so it doesn't need to pre-parse it. But it'll do like connect something, right? Connect whatever. And then you would have your variable, you know, some node here. Right? And so you would write all your connection args, and then you would do like, you know, my handler, you know, connect self, something like that. It's not really injecting, because that wouldn't really work at runtime, but it's more like it's kind of like that, I guess. I'm still trying to run it around in my head as to how I would want it to work. But what I do know I can do is run it through a handler at some point. So the handler would parse your entire file, look for your custom annotations, and then we will somehow generate connection stuff. Inject it, yeah. It's not really injecting, I guess. I suppose this kind of connect annotation would have to be like somewhere at the top like this. And so then when you pass in, you know, my handler connect here, what it would do is, you know, you pass in self. Self will, you know, it'll know about this thing because it pre-parsed it, and then set all kinds of stuff for you up here. Something like that. I'm not sure if that made a lot of sense, but it makes sense to me. It pre-parses these tags at some point during your ready function. So my setup function takes the place of my ready function. You need to call my handler connect, pass in a reference to yourself. The handler will, you know, it knows about every single variable, so it'll call it and do some connection stuff. So then you can have like, you know, whatever, like a dictionary. It's like a kind of a meta syntax. It's kind of weird. So like hello ASDF, and then it'll do some stuff. Or you can write some code, I don't know. Or actually you could do like just a inline doc string like that, couldn't you? So if you're to do like this, right? So this is like connects, right? Something like that. Does that make sense? So following this syntax, then you can have like, you know, func, whatever. I don't think it works out. I think it could totally work out, right? Because for this kind of inline stuff, I already have code that can handle it. Right, because I've already written this advanced expression GD, which allows me to generate GD script stuff at runtime. So what it could do is it parses your entire file for a connect arg, or for this very specific string that we're going to, I don't know, treat as a like a pre-parser, or what's it called? A define. A C-style define. And so if it sees this, then we'll start parsing until we find like an appropriate node to apply it to, something like that. And then this could be what you apply it to, or you know, you could also do like node. I don't know, like node is equal to whatever, something like that. I don't know. So it's a combination of a lot of things, actually. Can you do that? Yeah, you can do that. Of course. Have you forgotten how this works? GDML? Have you ever forgotten that I actually made this work? Yeah. Like this is almost the same idea. Yeah, like advanced expression GD, you can see that I'm just building a GD script via, you know, just a bunch of functions. GDML, like these aren't actually GD scripts. These are just inline pieces of text that also works like that, which means that this could work like that. Yeah. It's different. It's the same thing, isn't it? So we just need to pre-parse. You just pre-parse, and then you can do some stuff. And then the only requirements is that you need to call myHandlerConnect self somewhere in your ready function, right? Yeah, that sounds interesting, actually. Also, like, it just horrible. Just also, by the way, it's horrible. But the idea of it titillates me. I don't know why. Something about that just seems interesting. Like, that could work. That could totally work. I don't know why you would want to do that, but that could totally work. Something about that seems interesting. Sorry, I keep getting pinged on Discord. Who pinged me? Who was it? Is it you? No. Get out of here. Who is it? OpenCPage GD. Oh no. Why was I pinged? Who pinged me? Oh, it was you. 145 new messages? We'll look at you later. It's an interesting idea. Yeah, it is an interesting idea in my opinion. I don't know why you would want to do that though, but you could. But you could. Similar to a decorator. Yeah, it's like a very, very fancy decorator. Or actually, no, I'll do this later. I'll do it in my free time. This has been another thing I've been rolling around, but this is not going to be used in this project. That's just bizarre. But what I was thinking though, what just popped into my head is because it's similar to a decorator, right? As long as you use this fancy notation, what you could have in your handler is like, I don't know, like some function. So this is like call some function. So some function, whatever. And then your handler could have that function defined inside of it. Something like that. Yeah, you know what? I think that could actually work. I think that could actually work. How do you, how do fancy Java decorators look like again? I forget. Java annotations. Example. Annotations of parameters, yeah. Look at dzone. dzone, no, Beldung. Beldung is great. Oh, they used to be great. Yeah. You could totally do something like that. You could definitely do something like that. I don't think it would work for functions, but I think for things like this, for class level values, you could definitely mess with it. Yeah. The only requirement after that is that you need to call the handler. Anyways, well, back on track. Focus. Focus. On config updated. What did these map back to? Where is on config updated? On config updated. No, yeah, I can't use on config updated. Or actually, no, I could. I can use this. Yeah. What am I talking about? Args. So this will be check button. So always pass in the element itself as an argument. And the callback will be the same. Oh, Yeah, okay, let me just go all the way here. Because the only change, I suppose, in this instance is what signals we're actually, or what callbacks we're actually calling, because we're not using the default ones, because I need to pass the bone name instead of the args, question mark, or maybe this wasn't even necessary to begin with. No, the arguments are definitely different. Okay. Line edit. This stuff, blah, blah. I'm all about different patterns like natively supporting Godot. Would be cool to make it work as a plugin or something. I think it could work, yeah. A lot of the stuff I write can just work as a plugin, yeah. It's not too hard. Yeah, I suppose I'm curious. How do you suppose I've been running a lot of the things I've been running then if I'm not? Or I guess, like, did you just assume I didn't have a custom parser? I was using Godot's built-in parser? Because a lot of things I've been writing so far have been doing a lot of runtime generation. Like the programming language I wrote is also runtime generation. So this is okay. We do lots of high-level API. I do. Are they high-level or aren't they like low-level? Because they're not like they're not really manipulating anything, right? They're more manipulating the actual GD script itself. Don't really get unless. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I do describe everything in a very high level. That's actually one point of criticism I sometimes get from my work. Oh, you know what? I can't use this. I can't use this because I need to pass along. Oh no, bring me back. It's this part. This is wrong because I need to have the control, and then I also need to have the bone name, not the signal name. Yeah. It's high and low because it's a spaghetti. I don't know if this code isn't spaghetti. GDML is a little spaghetti, but it's could be a lot worse. But this code is very good. Look at this. It's only 231 lines, and it's pretty good, in my opinion. It's pretty good. The API, also pretty sick, because everything is just a builder pattern. And then we just try to assume. So like functions and variables are separate, but the most common use case is just adding code to be executed directly. Yeah, it's not bad. That is not bad. In my opinion, that's very good. It's clean and it's tested. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's one of the better ones. I don't know. I think a lot of, well, okay, let's ignore Stream Stuff Runner. GDML is not too bad. GD Lisp, also not too bad. GD Script verbal expressions, which reminds me, the verbal expressions email has not gotten back to me yet. This one's not too bad either. This one's pretty good. It takes a little bit to load in. And this one is huge. That one's pretty good. I have another window open somewhere. GDML is not horrible. Yeah, GDML is not horrible. Yeah, this one is organized in a sensible way at the very least. Let me see. OBS WebSocket's pretty good. OBS WebSocket's pretty good. GD Lisp, the original version was kind of spaghetti, but that's okay. OpenCFace GD, which it's no longer called OpenCFace GD anymore, by the way. I will concede the original version was pretty spaghetti, but I think that's just the consequence of, you know, software development. Things tend to spaghettify the longer things go on for. Right? If you start adding features you didn't plan for, generally what happens is it's just spaghettified. Alright, so that's okay. And we'll do roughly the same thing as we did here, I suppose. Alright, so control, there's no value. We'll call it value. Why not? Value. So button, I don't think this needs to do anything. Maybe you need proper name for OpenCFace GD. Well, I've already changed the name actually. Yeah, that's one of the big things I did today. So I've already moved the repository over to the successor one, Virtual Puppet Project. And then now the original OpenCFace GD is now just it just points towards the new project. You know what? Let's do this. Make it real big. Look at that. Beautiful. Just give it a quick pull. Virtual Puppet Project? Yeah. Because it is a virtual puppet, because this is a virtual puppet, more or less. And it also allows for a really cool acronym. So Virtual Puppet Project, VPup Pro, VPupper. VPupper, oh baby. That's a great name, IMO. So the name was definitely inspired by OBS though, which is like OBS projects. Open Broadcast Software Projects, Virtual Puppet Project. OpenCFace, not super descriptive, and also doesn't really lend itself to a mascot. VPupper, Virtual Pupper, fantastic. So bone name. So the value here will always be, well, won't always be, but will often be a collection. So value can possibly be a collection. Yeah, but the main impetus for changing the name is because I'm not actually affiliated with the upstream OpenCFace project. So it's something that has been a long time coming for sure. Need to account for that. I think some of these, I'm thinking about it now, it's not quite correct. Yeah. Additional bones. This is by bone ID. I can do this by string, and then this would be a lot easier actually. And then we'll just need to find the bones afterwards. But I do have the model here. Or we can do, oh, okay, so this is still okay. I gotta think about this. And oh, you know what? This is also possibly incredibly slow. I gotta think. I'm thinking. thinking, oh no. Because it's like I need to emit the signal, but then I also need to know, because if you have a lot of bones, this is going to be really slow. Actually, no, it won't. You know what? Just send it, dude. So if value, how can I tell? Because every single one of these bone things will be connected. So for the duck, there's not too many bones. That's not a problem, right? Duck only has these many bones, but for an actual VRM model, it will have a huge amount of bones. Actually, really quick, what is this? Bones to interpolate. Okay, so they connected it twice, that's fine. Let me see, avatar, no, bald, bald. Oh, geez. I hate how far apart this model's eyes are. It's freaking me out. But for this model, this has a huge amount of bones, which is why I'm kind of thinking that might be a performance thing. Right. God, I hate this model. Get it out of here. Back to the duck. But with a lot of bones, I can foresee this being a problem. I gotta think. So the bone page, bone display should not be connecting to anything. It should just be displaying stuff. Yes, that's correct. I'm just really struggling to put together a good idea for this though. Because we're associating it with a bone name. But then after this, how do I know? Because I'm trying to follow the idea that the page should be controlling each element. Each element does not control itself. Because I don't want elements to store their own states whatsoever. Bone name. And then control. I suppose, actually, yeah. Okay. But then that's still storing state. It's, args check button. Args check button. This comes back. But then I don't know what the... Because this only needs to be handled once. That's the tough part. This only needs to be handled once. I think this is the error. This is the error. Not all of these need to be registered. We only need to register once for every single one of these signals. Don't know what you're trying to avoid, but make it performant first. No, I think that's the opposite. I think you want it to run first, and then you'll make it performant later. But I think this is logically incorrect. This is logically incorrect, yes. So we don't want this, we don't want this. What we do want is when we're connecting everything, bone page, bone display. So we set the name on the bone display, but it doesn't really matter. All what we do want to do is this. Not like that, but this. So we don't need to pass along the control. Yeah, something like that. So register ourselves with basically like the registrar itself with the 3 signals that we actually care about, right? So bones. Where am I? Bone signals. Okay. Additional bones. I'm not really a huge fan of this either, but I don't think it makes sense to put these in the global constants. Yeah, then we'll go through here for I in bone signals. Okay. But then how do I connect? How do I connect? Should it be per bone page? Because it needs to be... Because I don't want to connect every single element. But maybe I do? My brain isn't working. See that Reddit post about drawing figures in OpenCV captured as characters? I did see that post. I don't know how to do that kind of stuff, but it'd be really cool to learn. I just don't know where to start with I guess scanning. Wouldn't you have to... I don't even know. I don't even know. It'd be cool. I thought it was disappointing they didn't release their code, but you know, you can't expect everyone to open source stuff. The only people who like openly open source all their code is weirdos like me. C part is complicated, don't know how to do it. Yeah. Like yeah, I know how they generated. Well, once they did the OpenCV stuff and it gives you all the data, I know how they put together the thing afterwards. It's just essentially cut out an animation, which is cool. It's cool. How do I get everything to listen to the appropriate callback? Because the hard part is that not every single callback will be an individual value. Some of these callbacks are actually collections, so I can't just say like set the button equal or set the checkbox right equal to this value, because you can't set a checkbox equal to an array. CB is either C++, Python, or Java. It's probably Python. That's what most people use. It's just the CB2 Python library. The libraries make it work on Android is another thing. Yeah. Yeah, but most people use the CB2 Python library. You would have to be fairly proficient at C++ to do to write an OpenCV or a CV2 or OpenCV, whatever you want to call it, OpenCV module for Godot. I don't think I've ever seen one actually. Is there an OpenCV Godot module? Oh, well. No, this is not a question. There's nothing. Unless we count this really old module from back in 2014. It says OpenCV.js. It says OpenCV.js. Oh, they're probably using the Godot quick.js module, right? If you pass in the control, you pass in the control, and then all of these are connected to the same. Because I only need to register them once. I only need to register them. I only need one callback, but I'm right now what is currently happening is it's generating a callback per, which is incorrect. This is hard. Because when the callback comes back, this callback on bone update is emitted whenever any of these signals are called. But if I generate this every single time, I can't pass along an additional argument either, otherwise it'll throw an error at runtime. I think they did a web app and wrapped a Godot executable. Oh, what is this? What is this? What am I looking at? Look at the Twitter. Is this the person? Oh, it is this person. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So this is the project. What the heck? Oh, they do. Oh, I hate it when people organize their nodes like this. I don't really know what this is. It's the first repo app. Ooh. I've lost it. I've clicked out of it. Helper and server. So the server, we look at the package JSON, maybe not. Don't know what I'm looking at here. This is a svelte app, JS config, no, package JSON. Svelte, Isn't this supposed to be, what's cores? Probably not, huh? I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. But yeah, this is just a server. So I'm assuming that the server hooks up to something else, and then this is a. I don't quite understand what I'm looking at. There's nothing to do with. It's nothing to do with OpenCV here. Possibly. Also don't really know. Possible world kit guide. Animation guide. What am I? Is this the training data? Is that the training data? This is some sort of helper. This is a plugin. Did they write this? Look how many stars it has. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would need to look at an explanation. An explanation. Let me see. There's something I'm missing here. This feels like it should be very easy. This feels like it should be very easy, but I'm not sure. How to do this. Thinking. So when we connect it, oh no, I see. Is when we emit the signal, we need to emit the signal. When we emit the signal, we need to also pass along the the bone name if we want to be able to filter out everything else, but I can't because that's not how that works. No. That's not how that works. Because now I have multiple elements listening for the same signal, possibly multiple times. And I can't just do a blind, you know, set this value here. Because some of these values are stored in... Actually, pretty much all of these values are stored in either an array or a dictionary. So I can't do a blind set on the control, which means that this is wrong as well. Yeah, so the only arg I should be passing in is the bone name. But then maybe this thing, I'm trying to avoid. Maybe this is okay. Because at least with this, I can guarantee that the... So we put it here. Put it here. Like that, maybe. Or maybe even do it like bone page. So bone page will be registered for whatever the signal is, and then we'll have on bone updated be the callback, and then this. So this will be some sort of value that we don't know. We don't know what the value is, because it could either be a float, it could be a bool, or it could be a collection. So it could either be an array or a dictionary. We don't know, which is tough. And then we'll pass in the bone name as well. And so if bone name does not equal our name, then we'll just return. We ignore it. That's how we'll do the filtering. Yeah. Oh, but then I need to pass along the signal so I know what we're even receiving in the first place. So signal name. So signal name, bone name. I'm dying here, dude. It's dying on the vine. It should be easy, but it's not. Then based on the signal, let's see, that's because now I need to, I need the signal to be available in multiple places. Do a flowchart? Yeah, I think this flowchart is starting to turn into spaghetti. Luckily, the spaghetti is contained to just the bone stuff. Yeah. Luckily this stuff is it's self-contained, more or less. I'm just struggling with figuring out how to pass the data around. Well, how to pass the data around and also not have it be a nightmare to maintain. Additional bones. So I think I can change this to be a string. Bones to interpolate should also be a string. Yeah. Static function? No. bone name. I think I'm going to change executive decision. This is now a string. And then this is also now a string. So this is the bone name. Pass the args as sender receiver. I can't. Because I'm going from the wrong direction if I want to do that. Well, no, it's because the emitted args won't contain enough information. Right, the problem is, I can explain the problem with a flowchart. That's the problem in flowchart format's pretty easy. So what's happening is that our sender, okay, let's do, this is our sender, this is our receiver. So this is our, am I too close? Oh no, text. Please. So our sender, and this is our receiver. So the problem that we're running into is that our sender only passes the value. Our receiver, well no, our sender only sends a value, yes. But then our connection arg appends in between in between these two things, the bone name and also I guess the original control is also appended. Yeah, it's the bone name, and then signal name is appended when we're going in this direction. Right. Now the problem, the problem here is that we don't know every single receiver subscribes to this notification. Every single one of our receivers subscribes to this notification. What I need to do is also send along, well, okay, so these, okay, I should explain that these are appended en route, and these relate to the receiver, right? But then these are sent every single time for every single receiver, which is wrong. What I need to do is I need to actually move, get out of here. These are all sent from that direction. What I need to do is I need to move these over here. But then I can't do that. I can't move these to the sender. I can't move them to the sender without breaking the rest of my application. Because the rest of my application only cares about what value is sent. Right? That's how it's so clean. Is that every single value is associated with a single signal name. And then we don't even know what the signal name is. All we know is that, well, actually, I guess the signal name, this is not technically true. The signal name is actually sent here as well. Yeah. But the bone name needs to move to the sender, but there's no way for me to send the bone name over to the sender. It's okay, because if you send stuff, you must also send the sender. Many relation. Basically, so we have one to many. Oh no, it's blue. We have one to many receivers, right? That's not hard, but then we only have one sender. So that's where it starts getting tough. So the signal structure, yeah, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But that's kind of tough. Because actually, the sender and the receiver are actually the same type. These are both controls, right? These are controls, or this is a control, and then these are just also controls. And only sometimes are they the sender. So sometimes the sender and the receiver are the same. There's only ever going to be one sender. There's going to be one to many receivers. And it's also possible that we'll have one sender will match to many receivers, because if you have many of the same window open, then they will match multiple times, right? So if you have like this kind of situation, then you'll actually want to match multiple receivers. So they send signal with many args or receive them with many. But I see the problem is I can't send it with more args. I cannot send it with more args. I can't send it with more args. That's the problem. I only can send it with this many args. Otherwise, it's going to require a re-architecture. Because changing this payload breaks everything. Yeah. I need to refactor. If I want this to work. If I want to move this bone name over here. Because if I move the bone name over there, I guess it gets really easy. But unfortunately I can't, because I assume that the update notification comes in the value, and it comes as a key value pair. That's easy. So yeah, and I guess the current problem, it's not this. Let's take this out. I guess this isn't technically true. What's actually happening is that our bone name exists here. And we need the bone name to actually be here. Don't close it. I think I will close it. Yeah. Because that's tough. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. I'm thinking about it. Right? So like this is what's emitted, right? So we emit the signal, this is the key, this is the value. And then when we receive it again, this is the key. So it actually comes to me as value key, but we'll ignore that. Do you have to use signals? Yes. I have to use signals. This is the data I have to work with. Maybe I've already figured this out. Actually, I don't need to pass along the signal name at all, because that's emitted automatically, I think. Or actually, no, that's not true. Actually, that might be true. Is that true? No, it's not true. No, it is true. No, it's not true. It is true? Hold on. I'm confusing myself now. I'm very confused. Yeah, no, on config updated, Yeah. It's sent automatically, yeah. Because if I go to config manager, no, it's no, it's just all of these signals, yeah. So this is the first argument. Emit signal. I'm confusing myself yet again. I know this works. Signal name, these all just use the defaults. Yeah. Then this one uses config updated, which is pretty easy. Config updated, value control. No. I'm dying, dude. Check button, args. You know what? No, it's only the value and there is no signal unless I actually manually pass the signal. I think I'm just too tilted at this point. Like, I need to come back to this. So it's trivial for me to pass along the signal that we're subscribing to, and this. So these will always be the same, and then I can filter by the bone name. But then when we have the signal name, that's when it starts getting a lot tougher. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's just add it to do. So to do, this is bad. Refactor. This is bad and will not work. To do stub. Yeah, I don't know. Brain isn't working. I think I'm gonna call it a day since I just can't reason about. And actually, this doesn't work how I thought it works. So this actually comes here. But these need to come from the sender, but they don't. They're actually added on by the receiver whenever this signal is received. Yeah. I think I've leaned too hard into the signal pattern in Godot, and now I'm confusing myself. Yeah, say goodbye. I feel a lot less productive than I really should have been. It's a flawed design. Yeah, well, it works really well. It works really well when it's a simple key value thing. Right? When it's just simple key value, it is beautiful, right? Because then you can do stuff like this. Like this all is fine. It's beautiful, right? You can change these, and then everything updates asynchronously. But it's when you start handling collections, it starts to fall apart. It's the problem is collections, man. It's a collection because these are collections. This is stored as a collection. This is stored as a collection. This is stored as everything in the bone menu is stored as a collection. And you need a better signal, yeah. Or I need to handle it. Like I really don't want to handle this as a custom case. I really don't want to handle this as a custom case. Yeah, I'll need to think about it. I'll need to think about it. Like it needs to be done in such a way that it doesn't break everything. Because I think most things are just key value. All right, most things are just key value. Yeah, you see like almost everything here is key value except for bone stuff. And I guess like lights and props, but I guess those will have to be somewhat custom as well. Yeah, so maybe I need to redesign how the configuration gets updated. So for this stuff, on metadata changed, on model config data changed, I might need to just create a second signal. No. Well, it's not possible. It's not possible to create a second signal, right? That's the problem. Is because every signal is key value. I guess what I can do is maybe have like a hello over on. How are you? You came at a very strange time in my life because I am super tilted right now. I need to rethink my API, but yeah, how are you doing? Okay, structural. It's not a structural problem. It's just something that was missed in the initial design. So it's not necessarily a structural problem. It might be a structural problem. Oh, thank you for redeeming a hydrate. How are you? I'm tilted. I'm tilted for sure. It's just something that was missed. So for key value, this is beautiful. For anything that is more advanced than key value, I need to think about it. I think what I can do is if I do like args, like I did before, and then also set it to a default arguments, which is null. And then I can define like this is tough, right? This is tough. Because when we intercept the signal, when we intercept the callback, because we subscribe to the pub sub, the publish subscribe pattern, by key. So for every one of these keys, we subscribe to, you know, this signal. The translation damp is its own signal. So we listen for translation damp, we receive the data, and it comes to us in value key form instead of key value form. That's fine. So that's okay. That's okay. But why don't you bypass the pub sub for that case? Because that's how you get spaghetti. That's how you get spaghetti. You can't make an exception in that case, because this is how I do messaging across the entire application. Is via pub sub. If you bypass the pub sub once, now you don't know. Now you have one edge case, and then once you have one edge case, then you start piling on the edge cases. So you should not do that. Absolutely not. I need a way to pass more data. But actually, this is not even the right place to put this callback. Maybe. So if you're going to use a messaging pattern, you need to use that messaging pattern. You must not go directly to the source, because it means that you're now ignoring your messaging pattern. So there's no point in having the messaging pattern anymore. The only time you would ever want to ignore your own messaging pattern is for like debug. So if you want to like print out additional data, then you can go directly to the source. But then is performance critical signal? Nothing is performance critical. It can be. No. Nothing here is performance critical, because everything here is just for updating UI elements. Everything is either for, well, it's either for updating UI elements, or it's for writing to the configuration, right? So nothing is performance critical. Like, we can afford to have a little bit of lower performance. It doesn't matter. Well, and I suppose like these things as well, but that's okay. I don't care. That is for updating bones in real time. I mean, it is for updating bones in real time. It's for sending this signal so that I can then wiggle the bone. So I can wiggle it like that. But then I need the UI elements to also update at the same time. But I need to think. I need to think. This is good. This is still broken. I can't bypass it. I know there's a way around this. I know there's a way around it. I know there's a way around it. And if we pass the bone name along, then the value... No, this is wrong. This is still wrong, yeah. Stub, this is wrong. Yeah, what I think I should probably do. What I think I should probably do. I think I said I'm going to be done multiple times, and here I am. So for a signal name in bone signals, because this is the bone page, right? What we can do is am pub sub register register self for the signal name, give it a payload, so the args that we're going to pass in, it's going to be the signal name, I suppose, and that's it. But then I don't know what bone it was. No. Because the only thing that's emitted is the value for that specific signal. You know what? I think the solution. I think the solution. I think I got it. Can your signal name contain the bone ID? Well, no, because then I can't do it. No, I can't. Because these signals are not predefined. The signals are registered at runtime, and I don't want to overload the signal dictionary. But what I think I need to do is is process dictionaries differently. So when emitting a signal, or when changing a value that is stored as a collection, that value must be wrapped in an outer dictionary that contains information about the specific bone stuff. You can still rename the signal as a string. No, I cannot rename the signal. The signals are all set in stone. Every single signal is based off of the configuration. I do not want to just have random signals, right? I don't want to just register a random signal. That's also bad. That's actually even harder to debug as well. Because if you just register a random signal, then you don't know what signals you have anymore. Right? That's why I said like this is a good pattern, because all of these I know for sure are signals. Right? Every single one of these are signals. I know what the signals are. The signals are the variable names. Easy. Right? There's nothing else that you need to think about there. Now, if I start adding random bones as signals, now I don't know what the signals are anymore. And I also don't think that there's a way for you to unregister a signal. I don't think that's possible. So signal. Yeah, there's no way to get rid of a signal. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Yeah, there's no way to remove a signal, which I also want to avoid. I suppose what you could do is disconnect every single signal, I suppose, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, what I think I need to do is whenever I pass along a collection, I then need to wrap that collection in an exterior dictionary that contains more information about it. I don't mean random signals. But you can't emit a signal. Your signal must be registered. You cannot just do, you know, emit signal whatever. That's not possible. You're not allowed. This is invalid GD scripts. You cannot just emit whatever signal you want. You must add user signal first, and then you can emit the signal. So you cannot append more information to the signal. Right? It's not a true pub sub, if that makes any sense. So the signal is the key. You must add a new key before you can emit the key. I think what I need to do is whenever I change one of these, I wrap it in a dictionary, or even better yet, have a custom class that wraps that for me, so it's not just like dictionary floating in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Anyways, we're gonna push it. I thought I opened up a new terminal. So cd dev puppeteer git status. We have a bunch of stuff. I suppose the one nice thing that I got done during this programming session was check it out. This isn't one of the defaults. This is not built in. It's also like not finished. It just says placeholder. But this is how adding new controls will work, is that you just kind of define it and then I load it in dynamically. So that's the plan. So at least that works with pretty much no pain. I guess there will be a problem if you have multiple windows open, because then they won't update each other, but I'll just think about that. I think probably the signal wrapper will have to handle that as well for custom stuff. But yeah. We'll think about it. What is remote control for? So the remote control is also, by the way, included in the current version. It's just it's a WebSocket server that you can start up, and then it will, if you have a valid controller that can connect to that socket, or not socket, but yeah, I guess ports. If you have a valid app that can connect to this port and also sends the correct information over, then you can, you can make adjustments to the UI. Well, not to the UI. You can make adjustments to the application without having the UI present. So that's something that people seem to want. So so you're able to, modify the model pose without having to go back to the UI. That's the idea. So because you see that it's captured in OBS. So if I were to make any changes, you can see the UI. So people don't want that. Like modding? No, it's for remote control. It's basically the GUI without showing the GUI on stream. It will have an interface then? Yeah, there is an interface somewhere. Let me see. It's here somewhere. Remote control manager. Yeah. I think this defines a thing, an API. Maybe I didn't write the API at all. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, API now. Yeah, interface, yeah. There is an API somewhere. It's been a little bit, but there is an API. But I just never got around to making the actual remote control application. But it does work in the very simple tests I did. But let me see. Git status. Git add all. Git. Change default GUI ones to be dynamically generated. Start more work on hooking up bone config data. Yeah, we'll just push it. There we go. I finished solo leveling. Congratulations. What was your opinion on it? Was the ending everything you wanted it to be and more. Give it a 6. Yeah, see, that's what I gave it. I'm glad we're about the same opinion on that. It's not my favorite thing. Oh no. I was gonna suggest we raid somebody, but I don't see there's none of the people I usually raid are on. Ugh. Alright, I guess we're gonna look for someone who's doing Godot. Ending wasn't good enough. Yeah, the ending was kind of not great. Alright. Choto the Bright is streaming. I think they're also doing Godot, maybe? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Soothing Sunday Game Dev. Quiet vocals, mellow, whatever. Started to drag on me near the end. Yeah, the ending of Solo Leveling definitely ran out of steam. For sure. Anime would be fun. Yeah, I think the anime would be fun as well, because it's just ridiculous, right? Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll be live Tuesday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you haven't given the channel a follow already, I highly encourage you to do so. I stream Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Wednesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I have a Discord there. If you are interested in the software I've been working on, everything is free and open source. You can find it on my profile. This is actually face tracking. This thing is free and open source. This thing is free and open source. Everything is free and open source, really, except for this, but this isn't really very complicated at all. Yeah, get sent. Goodbye.